One of my most favorite way when I'm fishing to win is that right there. When I'm fishing to win, that is probably the first and foremost most technique that I'm trying to do, and it's the punching technique. And no, you do not have to have heavy matted grass for that. The punch rig right here is what I've kind of transformed it into, is called dropping bombs. It's a scenario where I'm using anywhere from an ounce to an ounce and a half weight with a punch skirt, sometimes with, sometimes without, a Missile Baits D-bomb, and a big heavy straight shake flipping hook that I have tied like a snell with a punch stop in front. Reason I like this technique is two reasons. One, I can put this in the heaviest possible cover that you can find anywhere, any lake, anywhere in the country. Whether it's grass or bushes, I'm able to put this rig in the middle of the thickest place. Once again, fish are like humans. The biggest bass live in the thickest, hardest cover. The richest, fattest guy lives on top of the hill in the biggest house. So when you're looking for a big bass, you have to put yourself in that mentality. I'm kind of staying away from the riprap banks. I'm staying away from the easy places to cast. So I'm fishing this rig. I'm going out fishing for 7 or 8 bites in a day when you're out there fishing to win. You have to have that mentality, and it's a mentality that you have to stick with. You might get 5 bites first thing in the morning. You might get 5 bites all day long, but it's having that knowledge and having that understanding is what it's going to take to make sure that you catch them, the right ones, to win tournaments. The frog. The frog is a technique that I'm going to tell you like this, is definitely a way to win when you're fishing a 1-day tournament, possible 2-day tournament, but in a 4-day event, you're not going to get the weather consistent enough to win on a frog. And out of all the years that we've had BASS tournaments, there's only been one tournament that's been exclusively won on a frog, and that's the tournament that Fred Roumbanis won at Lake Murray, where he solely used the frog the whole tournament. Me and Dean, you've seen him. Rojas is a frog freak, but you've never seen him actually win a tournament solely on the frog. He has a flipping stick in hand. He has a crankbait in hand. Same with me. All the BASS tournaments that I've won, all the club tournaments, all the team tournaments, all the Rayovacs have all been a combination, but the frog plays a big key. When that day comes and they eat a frog, it's the best bite you're ever going to be on. You know, a guy can go out and he'll catch 30 to 40 fish on a shaky head. I'm going to catch 6 or 7 fish, but once again, my 6 or 7 are going to be better average when you're fishing the frog. So fishing the right baits for better average fish is fishing to win. The jig, you know, like J.C. Christie said, when he's fishing to win, he's fishing a jig. He's flipping that jig. Tommy Biffle, he fishes a jig. You've seen him many, many times fish a jig. I've actually got Tommy's new jig. Pretty cool thing about Tommy's new jig is he's got a short shank, really wide gap hook on it. His jig stands up real well. He had 100% design control on it. It's Tommy's jig, and I believe it's a really, really awesome jig. And so the jig is, you know, one of the best ways to fish to win a tournament. There's a guy, a lot of you kids won't know him, but his name is D. Thomas. D. Thomas is the father of flipping. He invented it from California. There's an old school technique called tule dipping. Rods were 11 to 14 feet long. They had Dacron, 100-pound Dacron line on the end and jigs, and they used to take them. It's almost like crappie fishing, and they call it tule dipping. Well, Bassmaster tournaments back in the early mid-70s, Ray Scott came up with this idea, no more rods over 8 feet long. So D. Thomas is out there taking saltwater rods, cutting them down to 7.5 and 8 feet, and he's doing the same technique, but he couldn't get as far as he wanted to, so that's where he came out with the flipping technique. And flipping a jig is always the way to win. And, you know, I still talk to D, and he tells me, son, you want to go out there and win some tournaments, you got to flip the jig. You flip the jig, you're fishing to win. And it's something that I've stuck with. You know, I've won several tournaments flipping a jig. When I'm going out there fishing a tournament, if I can flip a jig, I know I'm going to catch a better average size fish than if I'm flipping plastic. So flipping the jig is definitely the way to go when you're fishing to win.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.